Hello and good evening to everybody watching. So this video was a specific request from a good friend of mine who had some tenderloins or back straps, and he asked me how I like to cook them. And then I realized I had a whole mess of them in my fridge or my freezer, and so I decided to cook them. So what I do is right now I'm browning the roux. That's the part that really takes the longest. So I'll go ahead and start with the other stuff first, and then I'll just backfill you kind of on how I like my roux or my gravy made, whatever you want to call it. So the first thing you do is you cut your meat, and you cut it into, I don't know, 1/2 inch thick pieces. Just like that. And I go back down the whole back strap. 1/2 inch thick, 1/2 inch thick, 1/2 inch thick, down the whole thing. The next thing you do is you season it, and I like to use a blend, a little bit of Lowry seasoning, salt, don't go crazy. Cavender's Greek seasoning, I love this stuff, and it's not super expensive. Complete seasoning, just if you're feeling lazy or you can doctor it up yourself. Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, and then the most important part I just ran out is Bayou Dust. This stuff's available at like Ace Hardware and other hardware stores. And I put all that stuff in a big bowl with all the meat, and I sprinkle it on top until it looks good. And again, you want to be real careful about how salty you make it. And you put enough on top of it, and then you just kind of mix it. And the way that I start is I put my cast iron skillet on the stove on like medium low heat, so like a 4, and I just preheat it with nothing in it while I'm cutting up all my meat, while I'm seasoning all my meat, whatever. And the most important thing, you know, when you're prepping deer meat, and there's a ton of videos on this online, so I didn't feel like doing one. I feel like everybody kind of has their own version of deer meat, but to get that silver skin off. That's the most important part when you're dealing with a backstrap or whatever, because it makes it so it just pretty much melts in your mouth. You gotta get that backstrap off, or sorry, that silver skin off of all the meat. And it just makes it so much softer, so much more tender. It gets rid of, I mean, everything that you wouldn't like on it. Well, so then you cook it, and you just kind of cook it until it starts to turn brown. You want to eat deer, I mean, really, I tell everybody, eat it as rare as you can possibly stomach it. And that's really like the most important or the key part is you just want to really, 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 really eat deer. I mean, like this stuff was on for maybe 4 minutes a piece tops, so 2 minutes on one side, 2 minutes on the other, give or take a couple. But you really, really want to eat it rare. And then with all the drippings, what I'm working on right now, and again, like I said, I just got started, is a roux. And so the only thing I cook mine in is butter. You know, I don't use olive oil or anything like that, and that's why you got to keep it on kind of a lower temperature. And if it's not cooking the way you like it, it's not brown the way you like it, maybe your stove's running cold, your pan's got more cold spots in it, and you want to crank it up to like a medium, a high end of medium heat, so like a 5 or a 6 out of, you know, kind of in there. And then just cook it until it's done. Add in more butter, add in some flour, and then darken your roux to where you want it. And here's where I think I like mine more than everyone else's is after I get my roux exactly where I want it, the first thing that goes in mine is I have a cup of coffee. And I put 1/2 cup of coffee in, and it'll flash up, it'll spurt up, you know, everything else. And then I use milk. So coffee and milk in a really dark roux gives it's its own different flavor. I mean, a lot of people eat red-eye gravy. But most of the people that I've had to do it, they put water in it, and I think it always makes it taste a little burnt. And then I really like milk or in mine, and no water, just coffee and milk in your gravy after you get your roux the color you want it. And then that is going right on in this bowl of deer meat that I have right here, and then all that's getting served over rice. So the meal will be deer meat gravy over rice. And it's so simple, so delicious. It is absolutely my favorite way to do it. And Weeksy, if you're watching this, man, you gotta let me know exactly what you think of it. I'm gonna get this uploaded. I'm gonna get this sent to you And please comment, you know, go ahead, post a picture of it, put it on your Facebook, whatever, if you like it. But I can't stress enough, right? So like with all the seasonings that we're using, oh yeah, and I forgot to mention black pepper. You always got to use black pepper. I always forget to even mention that I put black pepper on it because it goes on everything. But all of the other seasons that I mentioned are salty. So you got to go really, really, really easy on them. Honestly, I would consider removing your complete seasoning and your Lowry seasoning salt if that's not a staple. It is, Lowry's is a staple for me, but and going with a paprika, right? So Tony Chachere's is pretty salty, and Cavender's is pretty salty as well. So you can use those two, a little bit of Lowry's, I mean like a pinch of Lowry's, and then like paprika or cayenne pepper or I mean whatever. You're gonna want it to have a little bit of a kick to it, because after you put your gravy on and after you put it on rice, it's gonna calm down a lot in flavor. But really, let me know what you guys think. Good luck. Hope it turns out good for you.